The Phoenix Suns have hired their new head coach in Jordan Ott, the assistant from the Cleveland Cavaliers. This will now mark the fourth straight season the Phoenix Suns will start off with a new head coach. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your favorite basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Phoenix Suns have another new head coach. This is something that happens every single year, and hopefully this is going to be the start of change in that the Phoenix Suns have officially hired Jordan Ott as their next head coach. Reportedly, this is Devin Booker's favorite. This was the guy that Devin Booker wanted in. We knew that he was part of the decision-making process as far as hiring and interviewing new head coaches, and they made that decision to bring in Jordan Ott to this team. And Jordan Ott's coming from a career of being an assistant, right? He's worked under two head coaches over his time in the NBA. That's Coach Mike Budenholzer and Kenny Atkinson. Those are the two coaches that he's been under. He's got a start on Budenholzer's staff in Atlanta from 2013 to 2018. And then he joined Kenny Atkinson with Brooklyn from 2018 to 2022. He then was with the Lakers under Darvin Ham, and then he rejoined Atkinson over at the Cleveland Cavaliers this past season. So that's what it is. Jordan Ott's a coach that worked himself up from the film room where he initially started at. He worked for the Spartans as well before moving on to Coach Budenholzer and working with him. This is a guy that a lot of people thought, was going to get a head coaching job sooner rather than later. Now, with the Phoenix Suns, they are looking to kind of right the direction of their team, right? We heard that the new head coach hire, especially with Devin Booker being a part of it, could be the precursor to the Kevin Durant trade. This is made more interesting by the fact that we heard today that the Phoenix Suns are going to be potentially looking to make a Kevin Durant trade before the NBA draft, which is in 21 days, so exactly 3 weeks from today. We will have that NBA draft, and that's what's going on here. So the Phoenix Suns get themselves a guy who's worked under coaches before. Coach Budenholzer is a coach that won a title. He's worked under Kenny Atkinson, one of the best coaches from the past year. And now he gets to take over the Phoenix Suns and try to clear out the mess that they have there. Whether Kevin Durant's going to be part of that or not remains to be seen. But we do know that the Suns are planning on keeping Devin Booker, and they want to try to build something around Devin Booker. So Ott's going to have to come in and right away establish himself, establish a pecking order with that team. Hopefully find, they find some more path on that roster with the Kevin Durant trade to where the roster makes a little bit more sense. But this is a tall test for a first-time head coach to be stepping into a mess, to be 100% honest with you. They don't have all of their own draft assets. They don't have a lot of cap flexibility. There's a lot of things that's wrong with the Phoenix Suns. So this is a interesting situation as a first-time head coach is going to be walking into an absolute mess of a situation that the Phoenix Suns have built for themselves. And maybe that could be why reportedly the Phoenix Suns are kind of targeting getting their own picks back from the Houston Rockets so they can control a little bit more of their own destiny going forward. And maybe that's what they want. But even then, right, let's say that they do get their own picks back in a Kevin Durant swap with the Houston Rockets. What? Are you then expecting players that you drafted to immediately help Devin Booker get to the place of building a championship contender? I mean, weirder things have happened, but it's still the state of the Suns is a place that they made it themselves by going out and getting the players that they decided to get, by locking themselves in, Bradley Beal with his no trade clause, all those type of things. They put themselves in a tough situation. They're well over the second tax apron. Their luxury tax bill is ridiculous, so they don't have a lot of flexibility. They can't aggregate salaries. They're about to start losing exceptions. Like, this is not a great situation for any head coach to walk into. Now, maybe that clarity starts coming with some of the moves that they're planning on making here over the next coming weeks. It starts making some moves here. And that's really the only hope here, is that you can start making those subsequent moves and then start getting some things done where your path to your roster and path to success is a little bit more clearer. But this thing is a mess. This is an absolute mess. And it's made more messy by the fact that they do want to hold on to Devin Booker. Had they been willing to clear the whole deck, then you can stack assets. Now, especially with focusing on getting your picks back from Houston, you've now constricted yourself even more in the deals that you can make. Now, that doesn't mean that deal is going to happen. I do think that the Houston Rockets start lowballing them a little bit too much. They should pivot to other teams and start a bidding war, but this is still just not a great situation. But Jordan Ott, hats off to him. Hats off to anybody that gets an opportunity to coach at this level, because they don't come very often. Well, they do come often, but they're few and far between. And so he's now going to walk into a situation where he was picked by Devin Booker. He was part of that pick. He was picked by the owner and the GM. They handpicked this guy, those three together. And if this thing fails, I wonder who's going to be held accountable. I wonder who's going to be held accountable if this thing fails, like everything else that the Phoenix Suns have done over the last few years have failed. So, that's just my opinion on it. We'll see where it goes and how it all stacks up. Hopefully this adds some clarity, and hopefully this is the first step of the Phoenix Suns kind of clearing the clutter and the absolute mess that they've been put in as a franchise, because they have been put in a mess, period. This franchise is a mess. The roster is a mess. The assets are a mess. And hopefully, coaching isn't a mess. Now he's going to have to go out, fill out his staff. Hopefully, as a first-time head coach, he goes and gets some veteran staff members that can help him here, because you're going to need it. And that's no knock on Jordan Ott and what he can become as a coach. That's just a knock on you're coming into one of the most difficult situations. Coming into a second tax apron team for a team that refuses to completely go or rebuild has to be one of the most daunting situations that's possibly could be out there, because what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? You can't sign free agents. You don't have the space to. You don't have any flexibility. You can't make a lopsided trade to get under it. You can't do that. You don't have your own draft picks. It's just a wild situation to be in, and one that, as a first-time head coach, I can tell you, I wouldn't want to be in. I would not want to be in. Malcolm Xavier says, I'm here daily, rock for the content. Appreciate that, Malcolm. I had just posted the daily video before this news dropped, so there's that. Brian King says, an absolute mess is right. Seems like a good guy and probably can actually coach, but we may never find out. As currently constructed from Ishaba on down, this was, to me, the least desirable opening. And I don't know who's really going to put up a huge argument with you on that. It's difficult to try to paint this as like a desirable opening. Like, any head coaching job is desirable because, again, you want that ability. You earn the right to get up to this level and be able to become a head coach at the NBA level, and that's all great. But to come into this being your first time coaching situation, man, that is a mess that I would not want to be a part of. This is a messy situation for a messy franchise, a messy ownership group. But like I said, maybe this is the first step to starting to do some sensible things around here. The next one needs to be the KD trade. The next one has to be the KD trade, because that's what's going. Well, you may make a precursor trade to try to get yourself under the second tax apron and then make the KD trade, but you have to start setting yourself up to be able to make that trade for KD. And then at that point, hope that you get either a nice deal with some promising young players that have proven themselves a little bit in the NBA, and you get your own picks back, and then you start looking like you have somewhat of a future, somewhat of a path, somewhat of a focus. Because right now, it's not there for this team. It's not there for this franchise, and it's in a spot where it's real effing rough, to be 100% honest with you. So, I like Devin Booker. I like Devin Booker a lot. He has his flaws as a player, as every player does. But this, like I said, this is a roster that you got to look at, and you got to ask yourself, like, what coaching can fix this roster? Nobody. I don't know any coach that will look at this roster as where it currently stands is like, yeah, I can get this roster to be a contender. You're going to have to make wholesale changes. You're going to have to make wholesale changes. Now, you got some players, of course, that look decent for you, but you got a lot of work to do with this team. A lot of work to do. And hopefully they're patient. The last thing that I would want to see is them to do a situation where they're impatient and they stumble this upcoming season, and then Ott's on his way out. Like that's another thing in this. How many times have the Phoenix Suns, how many times are you going to start off with a new head coach? You keep firing head coaches. You've made it through so many head coaches that is now ridiculous. You're going to be paying 3 head coaches this season. Only one that's actually coaching for your team. That's stupidity as a front office, and you just can't overlook that stupidity, man. You can't overlook it. So We shall see, man. Hopefully that, I know I sound very pessimistic about this, and it's not because of the coach. It's not because of Ott. I want to be clear here. Jordan Ott is probably a good coach, but I just don't know how much good coaching is going to fix this shithole that's become the Phoenix Suns. So we shall see. We shall see. But as always, let me know how you guys are feeling down below. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. You can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod. I see you guys on the next one. Go and check out the daily episode. I also dropped a mini documentary on Mark Jackson. Go and check that out as well. Love you guys. See you guys on the next one. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.